Hi everybody, in this video we continue with how to delete object in Realm database and how to use one-to-n relationship. So firstly we have a relationship here in this project. We have one user has many address, and when one address is owned by only one user. So this is a one-to-many relationship in database. So here we define the address schema or the address table. Here is the table name. Address schema is the table name. So we define the address schema here, and the address schema here also have the primary key, the street, string, and state. And the state here mean optional property, means that it can be nil or null. So the user schema now has many addresses, or it has one address, zero address, and two address. So we have an array to store it in the addresses, and the addresses has a type of list, and the object type is the address schema. So if you want to insert the address to user, we must have the user ID and the address object, or the new object of the address, which has been inserted to the existing user with the existing user ID. So we can extract some of the property, street, city, state from the new object, the address object. We extract the value from this object, and we search for the user object to ensure that the user has access or has value. So we can search for the user object from the user ID, and then you do not add the two objects with the same city and street. So we can search for the address, and you can you do not allow to add two duplicate address object. Then if it is okay, you can add add an object to an array. It is very simple. You create a new object, a new address from some of the value here. It has a value for street, city, state, which has been the value, and the key value is street, city, state, and the ID. Because the ID do not auto generate or auto increment, you can set by calling the timestamp, and you push a new object to the existing addresses. It is something like to add an object to an existing array in JavaScript. Quite simple. So if successful, you call the result function, and otherwise you call the catch or the error function, or call reject function. So you can export here, insert address to user, and press to export up, and you import this. Insert address to user, you import this, and you extract from this object using this ECMA script 6 syntax. So here we have the post API like in the previous lesson, and we can extract the user ID, street, city, state from body request, and you check for token key if the the token key match the key from in server or client, it will pass. Otherwise it through the error that you have just sent token key, wrong token key. And you can extract this value from the body of the request, and then you set the header to application.json. And you remember that you have the relation here, and you also add to this schema list, and you have to add all available schema or tables to this option to allow the process has been working on all the database, all the schema or model in your database. So you import this function to this, then calling on this. So calling insert address to user with input user ID is a number. So you convert it using number function to convert it, and otherwise if the string is not a number or named not a number, you can return error. Then it is the same as with the object like this, and after calling this and successful, it will go to then, and in then function you respond to the client accordingly. So you can delete the database file like this and restart the schema and database. So we have the blank database like here, because we add more table, we add more schema. So for simply you can delete the old code and rerun again. So what about how to insert address to user? You call this API post API with the parameter of the address and press send. So insert new address to user with this ID successfully. Okay, and we press to this to requery or filter again to see the result. Yes, so we have this address. So we have one address, and if you want to add more address to this existing user, you can call again this API, and you change the value a little bit. For example, as it is a new value for street 2222, and the city is a new value for city and new value for state. Yes, and you can press send. So we have a new address has been set. So pressing to this, use refresh, send, and you can see that now we have two addresses. Two addresses has been added to this user. So it is quite as simple as you add an object to a list of array, an array list of existing object. So now we come to this, and what about it? How to delete a user? Because one user has many addresses, so you have to delete addresses accordingly. Then the input parameter of this function is the user ID, and you search for the user ID here by calling the object for primary key. If the user object null or undefined, you can reject with the command that cannot find the user with this ID to delete. Otherwise you can delete, or this is important, you must delete all the address of this user object to delete all the address of this. And because one user has many addresses, so this is delete user. So you export this function, export this function and import this. So import this delete user function. from Realm schema, and go down, paste down to define the delete query, the delete API. So we have this delete API to delete a record in server. We do the same as with the post API, and we call the delete user with the input parameter. The user ID is the input parameter, and we have two case successful for then and case for error. Okay, and remember to return is here. Okay, and the function also show you the message after successful or error. So here you can copy this ID, this user ID. You can copy this and paste to here, paste to this value, paste to here to delete the user by sending delete request. We remember the type, it delete request and send. Okay, so for checking you can press to this filter and press send again. Okay, so it has been deleted from the database and very useful. So another case you can have, so you cannot find the user because the user has been deleted before, so you cannot send the delete API again because it has been deleted. So we have another case that now we want to delete all the user. How can we do this? So we do the similarly with the algorithm, the previous algorithm, which is less. We get own user from the database and we for loop own user, and we delete on the address of each of the user here. So for easier to understand, I can save this own user.index is each user, and then copy each user here, paste to here. It means that you have to delete all the addresses of each of the user, and calling delete all user or delete all the array of all user. But remember to do not use make it as API because it is quite dangerous. If you any user want to delete all your data, he and she can send the API delete all user. So you only use it in for testing purpose only, because it is quite dangerous if you make an API without good security and etc. So firstly we send the request. For example, we have sent to add a user to here, and you can check for the console log, and you can send the filter. Okay, so we have one user here, and then you can recommend this, and after running this, all the user has been deleted. Okay, all user has been deleted, and the user own user function is a blank array. So this function will delete all the user. Okay, after pressing this, so no number object, no, not found any object because you have just delete all your user here. Okay, and then please comment it, and remember, be careful before running this function. Okay, thank you so much for watching this lesson. You can subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos or download code in GitHub here. Bye bye.